Let's talk about sports, baby. Let's talk about you and me, and let's talk about all the Eagles and all the Broncos you're going to see. So anyway, I just want to run down a simple video here. I don't want to add too much fluff to this because I think you get plenty of that on YouTube anyway. And obviously I'm not a professional, but I'm just someone that has my opinion, and I think I do have some good opinions, and hopefully you agree. Anyway, so you've got some of the pundits out there talking. Everyone talks, and they switch gears so quickly, especially when it comes to Bo Nix. So my opinion on Bo Nix, the last few games until last night when everyone's jumping on calling him the next Tom Brady, i.e. Colin Cowherd, which is pretty amusing. I like it because I'm a Denver Bronco fan, obviously. I'm a Bo Nix fan. And at the same time, I was not as hard on him as everyone else seemed to be in the media. If he makes those 2 long passes in the last game, they're like 3 to 4 inches shorter, then all of a sudden they're talking, singing his graces, or saying how good Bo Nix is. But he missed those 2 passes, which is 2 less completions, worse on his completion percentage, but also, of course, yardage and possibly at least 1 touchdown out of the 2. Another thing to kind of look at, though, right now is we're coming up on the Eagles, but we've now just faced the Bengals with a not great defense, but also they did not have Joe Burrow. They have a backup quarterback, which I'm drawing a blank on, but anyway, I'll think of it in a minute here probably. But anyway, he's not great. So the thing is, you've got the defense that's not already not too great for the Bengals out there. So they're on the field a lot longer. They put up 3 points. We put up 28. We're doing what we wanted to do, which is a lot of things you can take from that. So in my viewpoint, you can take away the fact that we did what we wanted to do for the most part. Take away Bo Nix's forced interception in the end zone, which was a forced thing that he's going to learn from. A lot of people are on him like, okay, he's a 4th-year quarterback or 3rd-year quarterback making these mistakes, but he's a 2nd-year quarterback, 18 games last year, including the playoff loss that we had to the Buffalo Bills, which was probably predictable and a little bit embarrassing, but it's a rookie quarterback, and we have some holes, right? So anyway, this year we're 2-2. We could have had 2. We could have one of those. One of those losses was legitimate. That we were just beat on. I mean, you got to give credit where it's due. The first loss, though, however, with the field goal, was unfortunate that we had that penalty. We should have won of those. So we should have. We should have gotten 1 win out of that, but we should have lost the second game, which we did. However, Bo Nix is learning. He's getting better. He does have a decent arm, pretty strong. I think stronger than most people thought, especially with Oregon, where a lot of his passes were a couple of yards past the line of scrimmage. He's showing he can throw darts, especially that touchdown pass. If you look at that pass, he just shot that thing into Cortland Sutton. He was impressive as well. He's not exactly a burner. After he had his knee injury a few years ago, he was a little bit faster, but he's still capable of doing things. Has some moves, has a little bit of wiggle to him, and he is Bo Nix's go-to outlet receiver. Period. He's the number 1 person he looks at. The only guy that we can say is a legitimate 1 receiver on a team. We don't even really have a 2 yet, right? So we do need someone to step up and become that number 2 receiver. Troy Franklin has flashes, but let's be honest, the guy still has some drops and things along the way. He put on some weight in the offseason. However, if we look at this game, let's not get too excited that they beat the hell out of the out of the Bengals, which they should have done. But we did what we're supposed to do, which people don't like to give credit for. A couple things I don't like, however, are coming up on this Eagles game. I think we could beat the Eagles. I think it's going to be a tough game. Saquon has been horrible so far. 3.1 yards per carry. He's only has 237 yards through 4 games, which is not Saquon-like. Do you think he's washed? Obviously, Saquon is not washed. The guy is going to come around and do some things. I'm hoping we can make him do those things between the 20s, and he doesn't go off on us. But he's due to have a go-off game, as well as A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown is getting pissed, as he showed he's a talented wide receiver. And he is that legitimate 6'3" type, big-bodied receiver, 220 pounds. He's not like a Devonta Smith, when a prototypical wide receiver, like Jerry Maguire said, or in that movie, So you got prototypical wide receiver. Devonta Smith, 170 pounds, I believe, and 6 foot. Dude gets picked up, thrown around, there's clips on YouTube. So he is not someone that worries me, but I could see A.J. Brown maybe not going off because we do have a pretty solid pass defense. We're ranked number 9 in the league right now, 186 yards per game, and that is going up against the 31st passing offense of the Eagles. Jalen Hurts is not an elite passer, however, he's better than 31st passer in the league. So you take that into account, I could see something like 74 yards, random number I know, but 74 yards just pops in my head for A.J. Brown and a touchdown. And I think Saquon's going to get a touchdown too. And I can see him having something like 106 yards rushing, getting a touchdown as well. They put up 35 and 31 points in the last 2 games, the Broncos. I think Bo Nix grows every game. I think we have the capability as well. If we can keep Saquon between 20s doing his damage for the most part, and we can keep A.J. Brown to 1 touchdown, I think we can pull this game out. I think we're going to have to stop that tush push, obviously, if they get down there. It's going to be pretty difficult to stop for anyone, but I think the Broncos do have a chance. Do I think the Broncos have more than a 50% chance of winning this game? I probably don't know, but I do think we're right in that range where we could probably pull out this game 45, 50%. We're right in that. You'd have to favor the Eagles, right? They are the Super Bowl champions, and they're undefeated, so you'd have to favor them. But I think the Broncos are growing. Our defense, the things that does scare me a little bit is we have the 15th ranked defense against the run, right? You have Saquon coming up, who's been subpar so far, and you know that's not going to last. So we give up about 119.7 yards per game. So Saquon's going to get a little bit of action going. He's not going to be terrible all season long, right? Game 5 right now. So that's going to happen. However, another thing, J.K. Dobbins is surprising, right? J.K. Dobbins, to me, I was excited when we got him, but a lot of people were down on J.K. Dobbins. The only thing, in my opinion, that was bad about J.K. Dobbins is his injuries, but the guy averaged like around 5 yards a carry last year, just under 1,000 yards for the Chargers. The guy is legit. He gets hurt too much. So far, so good. Cross our fingers that J.K. Dobbins does not get injured. A couple things to kind of look at, though, is J.K. Dobbins is having a great year. He's going to get his yards. He's going to be over 1,000, 1,100 yards if he doesn't get hurt. R.J. Harvey's looking solid, but he does not look as good, in my opinion, as J.K. Dobbins. That's why J.K. Dobbins is out there right now. A couple things to look at, though. They're 25th against the run, giving up 133.3 yards per rush, or not per rush, but per game for the Eagles. So they are not good against the run. That's pretty sorry, along with their 31st passing offense. So they've got a few holes there. They're pulling out these games, but they do have some holes there. They rank 6th in passing defense. Okay, they average 185 yards giving up a game, right? So the Broncos are, right there with 186, and we're ranked 9th. So look at that. 0.3 yards difference, however, 3 rankings down. So pretty early in the season, we'll see how that happens. They have some pretty talented defensive backs out there, as do the Broncos. So that's something to look at. I think if we can keep Saquon from doing his damage in the red zone, and I think we're in good shape. I don't know if we can do that the whole time, though, and Saquon's going to get some outlet passes finally. It's kind of funny how these guys say that Saquon doesn't catch the ball in the backfield, which is one of his strengths throughout his career, so that's ridiculous. However, one thing that does kind of throw me off, though, is I think we should be a little better against the pass, actually. I mean, 9th is nothing to sneeze at. We're not great against the run. We're mid-pack, obviously ranked 15th, so it's not great. It's okay. But Benito and Cooper, we're at 26.6% pressure rate, and we are first as a team with 15 sacks in September, and we're also first in pressures, however. So why are we not ranked better than 15 or ranked 9th? Honestly, it's right there, right? I think we should be more elite than that when you've got Patrick Zupan out there. I think that's something that we should be better than that with that pass rush. I think that's going to lead to more interceptions. I think that might be coming. We're going to get probably at least 1 interception. It's kind of strange also that Jalen Hurts is phenomenal. He's my fantasy football quarterback in one of my leagues. He's not known for being a great passer, but he should be better in 31st. And he was shut down in third quarter and fourth quarter. Really, he couldn't do anything. I was watching some of that game. Started off great, and he didn't get too many more points after the first half. His points, 2 touchdowns, I believe, passing, which I thought he was going to be better, but it shows that he's still not quite there. He could be shut down. So anyway, Browning is the Bengals quarterback, of course. We beat them 28-3. So Broncos fans, I don't think we have to get in every little statistic. I mean, there's so much of that crap out there, especially in fantasy football. But I think the one takeaway we need to take away is the Broncos, #1 in sacks in the NFL right now, #1 in pressures, and we are ranked 9th in pass defense. I think we can be better than that. I think there's more interceptions to be had coming up here. We have great pass rushers. They're doing what they're supposed to do, right? I think Bo Nix they're talking way different about him if he makes those long completions, and now all of a sudden they love him, right? But the Bengals are not a great defense, and the Bengals have their defense out on the field a lot because without Joe Burrow, they're ridiculous. Even Jamar Chase out there, you can't do anything with their wide receivers. That's ridiculous, that they can't. And T. Higgins, of course. So Chase Brown is a joke, by the way. He's a fantasy football guy last year. He's terrible. The guy's fast, but he's obviously a bust. At least as far as, I don't know if you can say a bust, but he's not someone you have to be worried about, right? So they have no running game. We're 15th against the run. I think we can do better against the run, but our real strength is against the pass, right? But they don't really have a running, but Chase Brown was working, right? So that makes sense. But against the Eagles, it's going to be a little bit of a different game. They have that culture. They win. They've been in too many Super Bowls. They've got 2 Super Bowls, 3 appearances in the last about 10 years. But I think the Broncos have Bo Nix, who's going to grow more. He's going to get a little more comfortable. I think some of those passes are because Sean Payton is a very type A coach, as we know. I think Bo Nix is also type A, but I think that can also create a little bit of hitch in your pass when you're missing his passes. He's probably in his head a little bit. So I think the more comfortable he gets, the better he's going to get, and I think he's going to grow even against the Eagles. I think he can play well against the Eagles in the pass defense, especially if J.K. Dobbins does what he has been doing. You get R.J. Harvey giving us a few runs here. Maybe R.J. Harvey gets 11 runs or something. That'd be great. And you get J.K. Dobbins at 14 to 16 carries. He gets his 80 yards plus, which he is very capable of doing. You get R.J. Harvey, maybe bust a big one. He's a burner right there. So maybe you can do that. And as we know, Courtland Sutton, that dude just gets open. He's he is an elite receiver. People don't like to give him credit. He's not flashy. He's not sexy, but the dude is elite. So I think we can do that. We just need to have that running game. If we get that running game, we have a good 50-50 chance to win this game, especially if Bo Nix grows. But we have a game where we're putting up a few points against not so great defenses, but I think if you look at the Eagles, they put up some points, 31-35, but the defense that they did play this year is against Kansas City, right? Kansas City's offense was not even clicking. He had a lot of injuries. You have Patrick Mahomes, who's elite, obviously, but he didn't have a lot of people to throw to. You have aging Kelsey, and you had a lot of injuries on there for the defense. That they only put out, I believe the score was 20-17 in that game, so I put the Broncos right up there as another challenging defense for them. And I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I am going to say that the game is going to be Broncos 24, and I'm going to say the Eagles are going to be, some strange reason I see 22 points for a 2-point conversion or something, but 24-22 Broncos eat this thing out. They show that Bo Nix is, in fact, on its way to becoming an upper echelon quarterback, not just a young, improving quarterback, and we shut some of these guys up. So, go Broncos country. Hopefully 2 or 3 people watch this video, but if nothing else, it's good practice for me. So, love it. You guys have a great one, and go Broncos.